Hello everyone and welcome to another Star Wars figure review. Today we're going to take a look at some fairly unique pieces. Today we are going to take a look at some up and coming figures, I guess you could call them, from independent toy manufacturers ToysDeForce. Now recently I was sent a couple of samples, production samples of some new figures that they've recently created, and this is the review on them. So the figures that we are going to take a look at today are these guys. These are what's known as Warlordarians, or for those who are more familiar with them, these are very similar to the Mandalorian Crusaders that we see in the Knights of the Old Republic video game. Now I do have two of these to show you. We have this one, which is in a silver decker, and we also have this one, which I believe is a captain, and is in a sort of red decker. So those are the two figures we're going to take a look at in this review. And before we do that, we are going to take a look at the packaging that these figures come in. Now the good thing about these figures is the fact that you can actually remove the figures from the packaging without damaging any of it, because it's all openable via a few plastic flaps at the top. So here is the box. It doesn't particularly scream Star Wars to me. It reminds me a little bit more of Warhammer. But I guess, you know, when you're an independent toy manufacturer, you've got to stray clear of the Star Wars name for copyright reasons. But there is the front of the box. You see the name across the top. Some very cool artwork on the front. And the name tag down on the bottom. And there you'll see the logo for ToysDeForce. On the back, we have a very cool image of all of these Warlordarians lined up next to each other, with a brief description underneath there as well, which I will include in the video description for you. So that is the packaging, and again, since I was sent two figures, I do indeed have two boxes, both the same. Now I do have a few notes to share that ToysDeForce emailed across to me for this review. I'm not going to read them all out, most of them can be found down in the video description, but at the moment retail stores, online retail stores, bigbadtoystore.com, and for those in the UK, Kapow Toys, are currently selling these figures. You can get these over at bigbadtoystore.com, and I'll provide the link in the video description. And you can also purchase a case of 12 of these figures over at Kapow Toys, which again I'll include a link in the description below. Now I've got a few bits and pieces to point out about these figures. First and foremost, the armour, or most of it, is completely removable on these figures. And a few months ago I was actually sent out a couple of prototype Warlordarian figures, and with one of those I have removed all the armour in advance so I can show it you all individually. This is all unpainted however, but there we have the chest armour. We have the shoulder plates. We also have, well, I'll show you the figure stripped down. I mean, unfortunately there's some of the armour that I can't actually remove myself. There will be ways of doing it, because from the notes that ToysDeForce sent across, the only armour that you can't remove is the groin piece. So all of these sort of thigh plates and gauntlets and things like that can be removed, but there you'll see that's the bodysuit underneath, and then we have those thigh plates there, and the shin guards, and of course the gauntlets on the arms, which again can be removable from what I gather. You also have a backpack as well, which basically just clips in to the hole on the chest armour, like so. Unfortunately, the prototype backpacks actually fit a lot better onto the armour plates than the final production figures do. These are the backpacks for the final figures, very nicely painted. However, unfortunately, they don't fit on the figure. It's either the peg on the backpack is too big or the hole is too small, something like that, but it just prevents the backpack from sticking in, which is a little bit unfortunate. but the figures themselves look fantastic. As you'll see, weaponry wise, they do come with a fairly unique blaster rifle, which I do have a separate one here just to show you. Nicely sculpted again. And in terms of articulation, these guys have a ton. Over 12 points, I believe. It's basically a more advanced version of the articulation system that Hasbro use on their figures, from what I can tell. This guy has a ball jointed neck, ball hinged shoulders. The articulation on this figure is very similar to the IG-88 figure from Hasbro, in the sense that you have sort of double joints at the shoulder, so not only does the shoulder swivel, but it bends as well. You also have ball jointed elbows, ball jointed wrists, a la the Clone Wars Clone Troopers, as you'll see there. You also have a ball jointed torso, a ball jointed waist, ball jointed hips, which again have a multitude of movements in there, so they can swivel, they can bend, and also the thigh can rotate as well. You also have ball hinged knees and of course ball hinged ankles. So very articulated figures, and they do stand and display very nicely. You can see the very nice vibrant silver paint applications. And just for those of you that are interested, the overall figure is made from PVC plastic, whereas the joints are made from ABS material. So they can be played with, although I think it's recommended that these are adult collectibles, because they don't particularly feel fragile, but you get the sense that if you play with them too much or put them in the wrong hands, they will sort of become damaged, because obviously they are unique, limited pieces, all from what I gather hand painted, so really not something that you'd let your 6-year-old play with, but very cool nonetheless. So that is the silver deco Warlordarian. And as I said, we do also have the captain with the red paint, which also looks very cool. So as I said, if there are any points that I've missed out in this review, you can visit them in the video description. You should also check out ToysDeForce.blogspot.com. Again, a link will be provided, and you can see production shots of all these figures, what's to come, you know, recent products, where to buy them, all sorts of stuff over at their blog, so check that out. And I just hope that this review has done these figures justice. Very cool figures, and yeah, worth picking up, depending on whether you want to part ways with the cash. So there we go, that's the Warlordarian figures from ToysDeForce, something a little bit different for you. Hope you've enjoyed this review, and I'll be back with more soon. Until next time, keep collecting, and may the force be with you.